Hello everyone, myself Somiya SP, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Trinity College of Engineering. In this presentation, I am presenting you the Module 1 from Design of Hydraulic Structures.
Diversion headworks. What do you mean by diversion headworks? Diversion headwork is a structure that is constructed across the river. Before moving on to the diversion headwork, you have to know what is headwork. Actually, headwork is a hydraulic structure which supplies water to the off-taking canals, that is a by-channel. It can be of two types, that is storage or a diversion. Now, what is a storage headwork? Storage headwork is construction of a dam that is across a river for storage of water during the period of excess supply in rivers. That is actually for the safety of the river channel. Or else, as water rises, the channel slope gets disturbed. So that we construct a storage headwork. That is in high rise water supply, we have to store water. That is in during flood. As the flood decreases, we open out the channel and the water flows through the normal river. Now, what is a diversion? Diversion actually is required for the diversion of the water for the required supply. It can be a temporary or a permanent. Actually, temporary structure constructed every year after flood, like bunds or spurs. What's a permanent diversion headworks? It is a concrete masonry structure that is constructed as a weir or a barrages, which is permanent. That is, in a perennial canal, we construct the permanent diversion headworks. Now, what is the purpose of headworks? Actually, it increases the water level on the upstream side. That is, on a river channel, we just across a barrier. Normally, on the upstream side, water level increases. Next one, to regulate the supply of water. Next, to store water for a shorter period. Next, to reduce the fluctuations in the level of supply. That is actually if it stores during dry periods, we can supply the required amount of water. And in during flood time also, if we store water, the required quantity will be only flowing through the channel. Hence, the channel stabilization increases. Next, we have to control the silt entry into the canal. Next, what is a weir? Weir is a solid obstruction that is put across the water to increase the water level and to divert the canal. If it stores water for a shorter period, it is called a storage weir. Now, it is similar to a dam, but difference is storage period and the height. Now, what is a barrage? Barrage is the heading up of water is affected by the gate. It is put across a river without a solid structure. That is, no solid structure is provided. During flood, gates are raised to clear off the high flood level so that it passes downstream with minimum effects. On flood reduction, gates are being lowered. On comparing the weir and barrages, actually they are the permanent structures. We just compare the weir and a barrage. Actually, weirs is a raised concrete crust wall and that may be provided with or without shutters. But barrages is a low crested wall with high gates. It is actually a gate-wise operator. That is, water is controlled by using only gates, whereas in weirs it is not necessary. In weir, most of the pounding is done by solid wall, that is the crust wall, whereas in barrages it is done by the gates. In weir, during flood, increases affects on upstream side due to the high solid wall, whereas in barrages it is a thin narrow gate, so affects will be low. In weir, there is no control over water level because it is provided with or without shutter. But in barrages, gates are being controlled, so there will be a better controlment in flow of water. In weir, the silting occurs, but in barrages, there is no silting. Where it is a cost reduction process because gates operating system is not there. But in barrages, it increases in the cost. Next is the components. Components of diversion headworks, that is weir, dividing wall, fish ladder, scoring sluice, guide banks, marginal butts, and head regulators. Actually, weir has been discussed. That is, it is a solid obstruction put across water to increase the water level and to divert the canal. Whereas the dividing wall is a masonry or a concrete structure that is constructed at right angles to the weir. It divides the river channel into two compartments. Whereas fish ladder, from the name itself, it is known. Fish ladder. That is, it is provided for the migratory fishes, which moves from upstream to downstream in search of warm water at winter. Now, scoring sluice, it is a less turbulent pocket, which is fully controlled by gates. It helps in removing the silt. Now, guide bank is provided to guide the bank, and marginal pond is provided parallel to the rivers. Head regulators are provided to control the flow of head. Now, in division of weirs based upon the design of flow, that is gravity weir or a non-gravity weir. Gravity weir is due to the seepage of water, there will be an uplift pressure or uplift force. That is, it will be resisted by the weight of the flow. Why it is said to be a gravity weir means all the external forces, if it is resisted by its own self-weight, then it is called as gravity weir. That is, actually on weir, the pressure or the force that is exerted by the external will be an uplift pressure, and that is resisted by the weight of the floor itself. Then it is said to be a gravity weir. In the case of a non-gravity weir, if the uplift force is not resisted by the floor thickness, that is an external support, if it is provided, then it is called a non-gravity weir. That is, uplift pressure is resisted by the bending action of reinforced concrete floor. Now, gravity weir can be again divided into vertical drop weir, sloping weir, parabolic weir, and the sloping weir can again be divided into masonry or concrete and dry stone weir. First, moving on to the vertical drop weir. Vertical drop weir is vertical drop wall or a crest wall weir, which can be provided with or without crest plates. The cut-off piles are being provided at upstream and downstream of the floor, and to prevent scoring, we are provided delonging aprons at upstream and downstream, and it is suitable for any type of foundation. And there is inverted filter to provided at downstream to relieve the uplift pressure. Now next is the masonry or concrete sloping weir. From the name itself, it is known as it is a constructed with concrete or masonry. So it is a monolithic structure, so that is single substance is used for the construction of the weir. It is suitable for the sandy foundation only. The difference between the crest level and the downstream floor should be less than 3 meters. And the advantages of masonry and concrete sloping weir is hydraulic jump is formed due to the dissipation of energy. So the dissipation of energy is done by the hydraulic jump that is formed on the masonry or concrete sloping. Next is the dry stone sloping weir or a rock fill weir. That is, rock fill weir means rock is filled. That is, weir wall is a structure and it has further compartments which is filled with rocks. And in between the rocks, it will be a core wall to support it. That is, weir wall is the main structure and the core walls are the supporting ones. In between the weir wall and core wall, there will be stones or rock. So it is known as the dry stone slope weir or a rock fill weir. And it is suitable for the fine sand foundation. Now the last one, that is the parabolic weir. Parabolic weir is similar to the spillway. That is, cisterns are provided at the downstream. Actually, cistern means for the dissipation of energy. In masonry on concrete wall, it was the hydraulic jump formation. In parabolic weir, it is similar to spillway, that is, it will be having a sloping and having a straight structure for the dissipation of energy. And upstream and downstream is similar to the vertical drop weir. Now, what are the causes of failure of weir? Main causes are piping, failure of floor due to uplift, score on upstream and downstream, and rupture of floor due to suction of standing wave. Now, what is piping? Piping means water seeps under base of a weir founded on permeable soil. That is, grains get detaches and gets transported away. Actually, flow emerges out the downstream portion. That is at hydraulic gradient or the exit gradient, which exceeded a certain critical value of soil. And it results in surface soil starts boiling and is washed away by percolation of water. As the process continues, it works backward towards the upstream side and forms a channel or a pipe-like structure, which finally results in piping failure. Now, how can we provide a remedy? That is, we can reduce the hydraulic gradient by increasing the length of impervious flow or increasing the path of percolation. As the length of impervious flow is large, the piping extensions will be less. That is, it takes time to reaches the upstream portion. We can provide piles at upstream and downstream for the remedy as of piping. Next failure is the failure of flow due to uplift pressure. That is, if weight of the floor is less than uplift pressure, the structure fails. That is, bursting of floor occurs. Now, bursting reduces if the effective length of impervious floor is more. So, as a remedy, we can put forward first option as increases the impervious floor thickness and length. Second one is provide piles at upstream and downstream. Next failure is the scoring on upstream and downstream. That is, scoring on upstream and downstream occurs due to contraction of natural waterway. That is, when natural waterway is contracted, it results in scoring the bed at upstream and downstream. The score holds progresses and reaches the structure, which result in failure. So, as a remedy, we can put forward that we have to provide piles at greater depth, and we have to provide launching apron, that is, a stone covering to reduce the scoring rate. Last failure is the rupture of flow due to suction of standing wave or a hydraulic jump. It is formed at the downstream of the weir, which causes the suction of hydraulic jump. Actually, it is a wave action so that the scoring of the body occurs. As in a remedy, we can provide sufficient thickness, first of all. Length, then construct a wall with concrete instead of masonry. So, since it is a concrete wall, the scoring rate can be reduced due to the action of wave.